All right, welcome to the Explainer. Listen up, because if you're a founder or an early stage investor, the entire financial playbook just got thrown out the window. Today, we're diving into a seismic shift in startup investing that was signed into law on July 4th, 2025, and it could completely reshape your exit strategy. So there's this new law, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and it's completely rewriting the rules for what's known as qualified small business stock, or QSBS. And this isn't some tiny little update. I mean, you've got major players in the startup world like Jason Calacanis saying this is a huge deal for angels and LPs. Okay, so to really get why this is such a game changer, we first got to look at how things used to be. You know, the old playbook everyone's been using for years. For ages, QSBS has been one of the most powerful tax incentives out there for entrepreneurs and investors. The whole idea was to encourage people to take a risk on small, innovative companies by giving them a massive tax break if that company succeeded. But, and this is a huge but, there was always this major catch. To get any of that tax benefit, you had to hold your stock for more than 5 years. It was this really rigid all-or-nothing situation. I mean, sell it 4 years and like 364 days? Tough luck. You got absolutely zero tax benefit. All that potential money, poof, gone. Okay, but now, this new law completely flips the script. It brings in 3 huge changes that offer so much more flexibility and way bigger rewards. And these 3 pillars are what it's all about. First, we've got a new tiered exclusion system. Second, a higher cap on tax-free gains. And third, a wider threshold so more companies can actually qualify. Let's break down what each of those really means. So this first one, this is probably the most groundbreaking change of all. That 5-year all-or-nothing cliff, it's gone. Now you get rewarded along the way. Hold for just 3 years, boom, 50% of your gain is tax-free. Make it to 4 years, it jumps to 75%. This is huge. It finally makes the tax code match the reality of startup exits, which can happen fast. Next up, the reward itself just got a serious upgrade. The max amount of gain you can exclude from taxes, it's been boosted by 50%. We're going from $10 million up to $15 million. For those big home run exits, that is a massive difference in your pocket. And finally, the law opens the doors for more companies to even be considered QSBS. The gross asset limit has been raised from $50 million to $75 million. This is so important for today's startups that need a ton of capital just to get going. Before, they might have actually outgrown the benefit before they could even use it. Okay, so we've talked about the rules, but seeing the actual numbers, that's where the power of this new law really hits home. Let's walk through a few examples. So, picture this. You've got a founder with a $5 million gain, but they have to sell after only 3.5 years. Under the old rules, they would have been totally out of luck. They missed that 5-year cutoff, so they'd be staring down a tax bill of $1.4 million. Ouch. But now, with the new tiered system, half of that gain is excluded, which means their tax bill gets sliced right in half. That's a $700,000 savings, just like that. Okay, let's take it up a notch. What about an investor with an $8 million gain after a 4-year hold? In the old days, that would have meant a tax bill of over $2.2 million. But now, they hit that 4-year mark and qualify for the new 75% exclusion. And that simple change saves them almost $1.7 million. Think about that. It totally changes the math on whether to take an acquisition offer in that 4th year. And now for the grand finale, the true home run. Let's say you have a $15 million gain after holding for 5+ years. Under the old rules, the cap was $10 million, so that extra $5 million would have been taxed, landing you a bill of $1.4 million. But with the new, higher $15 million cap, well, that entire $15 million gain is now tax-free. Your federal tax bill drops all the way to zero. You just saved the full $1.4 million. So, it's pretty clear, right? This creates a whole new strategic playbook for founders and investors. But, and this is key, you've got to know the specific rules of this new game to actually win. And this might be the most important rule you need to hear, the effective date. These amazing new tiered benefits, they only apply to stock you acquire after July 4th, 2025. Any stock you already own from before that date is still stuck under the old 5-year all-or-nothing rule. It's also really important to remember what hasn't changed. The fundamentals. The company still has to be a C Corp. You still need to get your shares at the original issuance. And all those active business requirements and industry restrictions, like on finance or farming, they're all still in place. Okay, so this naturally brings up the one question that every single person holding old QSBS stock is asking right now. Is there some way I can exchange my old stock, the shares issued before July 4th, 2025, to get in on these awesome new benefits? And the law is crystal clear on this. The answer is a firm, unambiguous no. They actually wrote specific anti-abuse rules into the legislation to stop anyone from trying to convert old stock into new stock. To get these new perks, it has to be a brand new, genuine investment made after that July 4th date. All right, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. Because this isn't just about individual tax returns. This is something that's poised to ripple across the entire startup ecosystem. Yeah, this isn't just some minor adjustment to the tax code. It's a huge policy statement. I mean, the official estimate is that this will inject an extra $17.2 billion in tax benefits into the startup world over the next decade. The goal here is pretty obvious: to pour fuel on the fire of entrepreneurial risk-taking and power the next wave of American innovation.
Look, this really is a watershed moment for anyone who builds or funds startups. The rules have changed, the math has changed, the incentives have totally shifted. And that opens up a world of new strategic possibilities. So the question you really need to be asking yourself is, now that the game has been completely rewritten, is your strategy ready?